I'm Mike Woodley, the Executive Director of Victory Christian School. Thank you so much for taking time to look at this video and to see where we're headed, the direction God is taking us at Victory Christian School. It's such an exciting time to be part of this wonderful journey, and God has put me in the front row seat to watch what He can do with this school. So first of all, I'm going to give you a little bit of history of the school, talk about our growth, and talk about where we're headed. In 2008, we started with just a simple pre-K program. We had 10 students. You can see the picture here of the 10 students and a couple teachers, and that's where this all began. And then we started to grow. In 2011, we decided to add a kindergarten class. So in 2011, we added the kindergarten with ideas of going first, second, third, following all the way up. But God had other plans. So He didn't allow us to move until 2016. In 2016, we added our first through fourth grade classes. And this is a picture of their Christmas program, the first through fourth grade classes. In 2017, then, we added fifth grade. And then we were stopped again. God didn't want us to grow at that time until 2022. In 2022, we added our sixth grade class. And now in 2023-24, coming up this fall, we've decided to add seventh and eighth grade because our growth is just phenomenal. And we're on the move. So here's just some pictures. This is our last year's 2022-2023 class. Some of the things that they did, bus trip, ice skating, some of the fun things. Here's where we ended, 2023 spring. This was the size of our school. We had 70 students at this time. So if you look back to where we started, right here, 2008 and 2023, we had 70 students. Now, imagine this. Take about a third of these kids and put them to the side, and that's where we're going to be for this fall, the fall of 2023. We have about 100 students enrolled at Victory Christian School at this moment, which is very exciting. Now, with that growth comes some challenges, but some really good challenges. So our plan for the future at Victory Christian School is to take the seventh grade class, that's our cohort, and to make sure that they graduate from Victory Christian High School, which will be coming in 2025. That seventh grade class will be ninth graders in 2025, and will hopefully graduate by the spring of 2029. That's the plan for Victory Christian School, is to add the high school because of our growth. With a conservative growth, right now I said we were at 100 students, but with conservative growth and adding the high school, we're looking at probably fall of 2029 starting around 300 students, which is phenomenal. So in order to do this, we obviously have to expand. This summer, we added 3 classrooms to what was the old Victory Lutheran Brethren sanctuary. We added 2 classes there and 1 Sunday school room we turned into another classroom. We also added a resource room in the loft of the old sanctuary. So essentially, we've taken over the entire old sanctuary, the entire old church, and turned it into our school, which is really, really cool. But we're going to outgrow that space in no time at all. So we have a 3-phased approach of how we're going to handle this growth coming up in the future. And that's why you receive this pamphlet, this case study, that just talks a little bit about what we're doing, where we're going, and hopefully you'll be willing to be part of that with us. So let me just talk to you a little bit about our growth plan. Ideally, and eventually, our plan is to build a brand new school west of the new sanctuary. The church owns 5 of the 10 acres west of the new sanctuary. So our plan is to build on that land. The church has willingly let us lease that for $1. We're still working out the contract, but we can lease that land and we can build a school out there. Now that is the big long-term plan. That is an expensive plan, and we have phases to get there. So the first phase, if you take a look at this is the current new sanctuary. Our first phase, here is our school right now in what used to be the old sanctuary. Our first phase is to build north, just off of the old sanctuary. And in order to do that, we would also have to change some of the current, this is the gym space, the kitchen area. But we would build a gym, a couple storage rooms. This would be the kitchen. This would be a commons area. This is a multi-purpose room. And we'd added some bathrooms here. And that's what we would add as far as new space in the first phase of the plan. The first phase is about a $3 million plan. So we would build that way. Then we would also add classrooms. We would add 4 classrooms. You see then kind of the pink, those are the 4 classrooms. And this is in the current gym area. We'd also add an admin office area. And that would get us through probably 3 to 5 years, roughly, if we stay on the consistent growth pattern. That would give us enough space to do that. What we did this summer, we added these classrooms. This is the old sanctuary. We added these 2 classrooms, this classroom, and then modified the loft up here. So this is our current school, plus we have some downstairs classrooms here. So that would be phase 1. And I'll just show you some outside renderings. So again, this is the new sanctuary, this is the old sanctuary, and then we would build north. Again, this is just some pictures of how it would come out north of the old sanctuary. Now, phase 2, when we get to that point, which I said is probably 3 to 5 years down the road, is about a $10 million phase. And phase 2 would be out in that field, like I said, west of the current new sanctuary at Victory. So here's Victory Lutheran Brethren Church. Then out here would be the new build. To start with, we would do the gym area, commons area. There'd be a kitchen, kind of food service, and some other multi-purpose rooms. And then we would build 1 pod. Now, we're not tied to that 1 pod being right there. It could be here, but right now this is showing the elementary pod, which would be a couple pre-K classrooms. We'd have kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Within that pod, there's bathrooms, there's locker rooms, and there's kind of a commons area for the students to use. So that would be phase 2, and that would run about $10 million to start that. And again, the way this is designed, it's a pre-engineered building. You could do, this is the high school wing. You could do the high school wing. You could do the middle school wing, however we'd want to do it. But that's about a $10 million addition. Phase 3 of the new construction would be the entire high school, which I showed you the picture at the beginning. So again, here's our existing church, here's our existing school, and then out here we would have the full build, which would include this pod, which would be high school. This pod is middle school. These are some auxiliary rooms like music, art, those types of rooms. We'd have some admin offices. Again, the kitchen and everything would flow right in there. So that is the large big plan, which would be another $10 million. So all told, we'd have about $22 to $23 million if we did this along with our phase 1 addition. And no matter how funding comes in, we plan to do all phases because of our growth. We do need to use, even if we build this, if we were able to, if somebody handed us a check to build this today, we would still need to use the existing school just because of our growth. So for instance, pre-K, we cap out at 18 students. That's what we have. I have 5 on the wait list right now, but I've had another 12 or 13 people contact me about pre-K. So right now we could be at a classroom of 17, 1 classroom, and another classroom of 17. If we would have had space this fall, we would have 2 pre-K classes. So obviously we're trending in a direction which then the pre-K translates into kindergarten and so on and so forth. So we're going to need 2 classes per grade in the not so distant future. And our plan for next year is to start 2 pre-K classes. So hopefully that pans out for us, and that's kind of our plan where we're headed. So again, here's the building, here's the big plan, and now you've got a little picture of where Victory Christian School is headed. And not because of anything we've done, but because God has decided it's time to grow this place. Let me tell you a little bit more about some of the things that God has been doing in our school. So our school is made up of roughly 24%, and this was the last fall's statistics, 24% of families that don't go to church, and they don't have a regular church. They're not members of a church. So about a quarter of our population are people that are unchurched. And the cool thing is 3 of those families that said they were unchurched are now in a church on a regular basis. One family in particular is just a really cool story. They have a student in pre-K for the fall, and she'll be in kindergarten in the spring, or in this coming fall, and also a childcare student. And that family has been here with us for 2 years, and now mom and dad are attending church regularly with the kids. They had the kids baptized. Mom and Dad's marriage was kind of on the rocks. This is Tom and Mallory Schultz. I don't know if you know the Schultzes, but their story is really cool. They gave me permission to share this story with you. But they have been coming here to Victory Christian School for a couple years, and now they're coming to church. And their marriage was on the rocks, and now they're doing marriage counseling together. And their marriage has never been stronger. It's really awesome to see how God has changed them. And not because of anything we've done, but because we speak into their children, and their children are taking it home to them, and they realize the importance of God and what needs to happen. So it's just a really awesome story. One really neat thing that happened, we have a church service every year to thank Victory Lutheran Brethren Church for allowing us to be in their building and do what we do here. And during that service, the teachers come up, they give their testimonies, they talk about things. And Pastor Sean always gives a call to confession, and we pray silently, and we reflect on, our week and on things. And during that time, the Schultzes were sitting in the congregation, and Grayson, who is 3 years old, was and from our childcare, was sitting there. And during their childcare time, they do a little song before they pray. And the song kind of goes like this: God is listening, God is listening, bow your head, bow your head. And they do a little bit more, and then they pray. Well, Pastor Sean said, let's bow and pray. And the first thing Gray does, it's completely quiet in the sanctuary. He starts singing, God is listening, God is listening. So clearly, he feels the love of Christ, and he just gets it. And so it's so awesome. That story just gives me shivers every time I think about it and talk about it, because of those two kids, their parents are now married, still married. Their marriage has been saved, and they have been saved because they're now coming to church and doing the things they should be doing to raise their kids in a Christian home. So it's so cool to see those kind of stories coming out of our school, because Christ is here, and Christ is here first. All of our teachers, I know this question has come up a few times. Are you worried about teacher shortages, anything like that? Will you ever compromise? And the answer is no. Our teachers have to be Christians. Our staff, from top to bottom, they have to be Christians, because we know they will lead in the future. So that's a little picture of where we're going. Hopefully you did have a chance to look at this. You can look at this brochure too. And if you have questions about where we're headed, if you have questions about the school, if you have questions about our enrollment, anything like that, you can certainly contact me. We'll put my contact information up. So thank you so much for taking time to look at this video. And please get a hold of me if you want to just take a tour of the school and see what's happening. The new construction looks awesome, and we're so excited to start in just a week here. So please get a hold of me. The information will pop up on the screen right after I'm done talking. So thanks, and have a great day.